We are now online. Hi, Krishna. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate a lot your time to share your session. So for everyone who is now connected, we are going to present to you debugging and monitoring in PowerApps. So Krishna is the rock star here. So I'll let him to do his introduction and all the session. So Krishna, you can continue.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know which time zone you are. Welcome to my session. In today's session, I will be discussing more about how to debug and monitor a Power App in both Canvas and model driven also. So before we go, a huge thanks to all the sponsors, because without them, we would have been not able to make it. We have 2 silver sponsors and 1 gold and 1 silver again. Sorry, 2 platinum, 1 gold and 1 silver. Thank you for all the sponsors to make it happen. And this is about me. Who is the speaker? This is Krishna. I have 17 years of IT experience, a PowerApps community super user from last 2 years. I am a business applications MVP and a certified Microsoft trainer. A proven PowerApps and Power Platform lead. Contributed more than 280 solutions in the community for various issues on the Power Apps with SharePoint as a backend and Dataverse as a backend, various issues. And I have delivered close to 70 sessions on both Office 365 Power Platform as a local and global speaker. Last but not least, I'm an active YouTuber also. I have my own YouTube channel where I contribute my knowledge to help my fellow makers. OK, so what is today's agenda? Today's agenda is to understand how to enable monitoring and why should we know and what is monitoring, how to debug a Power App in development and also debug a Power App running in production also. Last but not least, how we could leverage this monitoring or debugging feature to coordinate with the QA team or with the production team when they log any issue that, hey, so and so functionality is not working, how we could address. So this kind of hurdles, it is very hard at the time of production debugging. OK, we will monitor that, how we could achieve that. OK, so before we jump into anything, in a traditional programming language, debugging, how we do is we do the debugging with the help of functional keys F7, F8 and F9, but those functional keys won't work when the IDE or the development environment is part of a browser. Unfortunately, in our case, it is part of browser. If you notice, the Power Platform, Power Apps is running on top of a browser. The IDE or the Maker portal is running inside a browser. When you click or when you hit the functional key, it will perform the functional operations at the browser level, not at the app level. So how we could do that and how we could enable that. So before we learn on that, Monitor supports several events for Canvas apps and model driven apps. Few of them are very important. Them are these. Under Canvas, I can see what are all the various data connectors, how the screen load metrics is working, like how long it is taking, how many functions it is executing, how many records it is collecting, how long a particular query is happening, and also the user actions. What is a action user is selected, whether it is navigating between the screens or selecting a specific control or hitting on a button. Each and every action we can see as part of monitor. OK, and last but not least, as part of this monitor, I can add a custom logs as part of the monitor window, and I can also see the performance hassles or performance metrics, how that particular filter query or lookup query is executing. Is it doing a iterative query, or it is taking long time, or it is working smooth? How about model driven app? I can understand from model driven app what are all the page navigations going on, what is the network connectivity, which network it is using, how it is going, and commands execution, various commands like when we write business process flows, how the business process flow is executing, everything we could see as part of monitor. Before that, this is something Microsoft had released, but how I could do a monitoring is, in my way, I could say monitoring is at 3 levels. Level 1 is you can understand the result of a formula or result of any of the control or action by going onto that specific action, whatever we want to do. Example, in current scenario, in this scenario, I want to get the manager of a given resource. If the manager is available, I'm just showing the manager name and also showing his or her profile picture. Right now, if I just say like this, I'm just displaying that as there is no manager for the given user, which means that I'm properly handling the exception and I'm showing it, which is fine. But if you think that this user should be part of my Active Directory or Azure and that should return a value, how you could do is you can select the button where you are performing that operation. And when you go and highlight, if you highlight the specific statement, and it will show a preview of that. What is the value I am getting out of that statement? And when you just select that collection, the collection will show a preview of that. In case if I have a result, it will show as part of that example. If I just go with Krishna, my account where I have the details. Now, if I go and highlight this and look at the preview, there you go. It will show you all the details then and there. But remember, this is a just preview of your result set. It will show only top 7 records. It cannot show you the entire record set, what the output is completely coming as part of your result, as part of your statement or as part of your query. And then what I also can do is now this is the first way I can debug my code by highlighting example. Another example is if you see here user dot full name. If I just highlight that, what is the value I'm getting? I'm getting the return data type as text, and it will show all the result what I would be able to see as part of the preview. Now, if I don't see anything like this, the next way is create a simple label while you are debugging your code. Debugging an app at the time of implementation is not that easy. So how we could make that life easy is simply add a label and write the formula, whatever the formula you are expecting the value. If you write that, I know, OK, this formula is working, which means that this part of my code should work properly. That is how I can do that. Unfortunately, there is no way I can add the debug pointer to monitor only that particular line of code. And then if there is an error, meaning that if this is not resolving my statement or if it is not resolving the manager name, I know it is getting an error. If it is error, what I'm doing is I'm just showing the message as, hey, there is no manager for the selected user. If not, I am displaying whatever the manager name along with the profile picture. OK, that is how I can monitor my app in a basic level. But if you go one level down, look at this. This is a gallery. In this gallery, I am rendering my release management. As I said before, this is how it will show a preview of all the records. Now, if you look at the table, along with this data, I'm also showing the user's profile picture. And if you notice here, it is doing a query against Office 365 user, which means it is querying against Azure, and every time it is running this function or the logic to get the user profile. Think about this. If I have 1000 records as part of my data source, the time I scroll down, it will keep loading my data, isn't it? We all know the gallery in PowerApps works like this. By default, gallery will load only 100 records. The time you scroll down and it reaches to the last record, it will go and fetch the next set of data, which means that if I have 1000 records, it will do a 1000 time query against my Active Directory or Azure. But how do I know it is doing my operation against AD for each and every time? Is it a performant way or not performant way? We cannot see that here. How could we see that? It can be only be monitored or observed with the help of monitor. So where is that monitor? After very long time testing and being in preview mode, monitor became a general available feature in PowerApps early January 2021. So on your left hand rail under Advanced Tools, select Open Monitor. When you click on Open Monitor, it will open a new window and it will show you Monitor Debug Session. This will give you each and every operation you are performing as part of your app. If you notice here, ID is the sequential ID, and this is the time where that particular action or function performed as part of the execution, and what is the category, whether it is a network category or user selection, everything, and what kind of an operation it is doing, whether it is a collect operation or filter operation, which operation it is, and what is the result, and result info status, everything. Now I have opened this. How do I know whether how it is working? Now, if I go to home and just say get manager, now it executed. Now, if I come back to this session, there you go. It just started logging each and every action user is performing on the app, and it is just adding as part of your monitor. This is the time user had performed. As I said, what is the category, whether it is a user action or a network operation or a function, and what kind of an operation is this, whether it is a selection. If it is a user selection, it clearly says that it is a user selected by user, and if it is a trace, this is a function, so it clearly mentioned as a trace. How I will be able to see my own statements as part of this, we will see in a minute, but ideally it will log each and every action here. This is a result, which means whether it is a success or a failure. But how do I know the failure, Krishna? Let us test that also. When I say test, get manager, now I don't have a value, which means that I got exception there. Now, if I come here and come back here, there you go. You see that it clearly logged it, that particular action got failed, and it is an error. When I click on error, it clearly shows what is the data set I'm getting, and also when you click on formula, if there is any formula associated to that particular operation, it will show you. OK, now before we go here, now let's spend some more time on this table where it shows everything. Result info is the column where you could see your custom message or the standard message where the PowerApps is logging while logging the events as part of monitor or debug session. And also it shows you the status of that operation and how many milliseconds. Remember, this is not seconds, it is milliseconds. How many milliseconds it took. And this is the status. 200s are always the success and 400 is a failure. So duration is how many milliseconds it took and what is the data source it is operating against. If you notice here it is mentioning the data source as Office 365 user, because in my code I am searching against Office 365 data set. So the data set must be, data source must be Office 365 users. And but in here I am just checking, validating against my collection. If you notice my code here, I am just capturing as part of a collection. So what it is clearly noticing that, see how many, what is the operation? It is a clear collect operation and the result is one row got collected and it is where it is going. The data source is collection and it is the control under button get manager. And if you come here and notice here, it is the control button get manager. So last but not least, what is the property against that control? Here the property against that control is on select. Once user select on select, click on the button on select, it is executing. As I said, if there are any formulas associated to that particular action, when I go to formula, the beauty is it clearly highlights what part of the entire code block this formula is sitting and what is the output also we could see as part of this detail session. Any questions? Okay, I'm taking that as no questions. The next one is this is to clear the log history. When I click on this, it clears out the log history. And if I perform one more time, there you go, it automatically logs. And if I want to send this log history to any of my fellow developer or to admin, I can always download my monitor log history. And when I click on that, by default, it downloads as a JSON. And once I download on their side, irrespective of which app they are, they can open, in fact, they can open a make.powerapps.com. I'll go and create a brand new app if you notice. And this monitor is at the app level. It is not at the user session level. Now, if I come here. And go to advanced tool, open monitor. If you notice here, this is one session and this is another session. How do I know? Look at the grid as part of the URL and this grid is completely different. Now, if I go to upload and let me select the recently downloaded trace. There you go. I don't have to have the access on the app completely. All I have to have is open a dummy Power App and just click on the monitor. After I click on the monitor here also, when I click on this, I can see what are all the formulas it is executing on the success scenario. OK, this is what it happened. Say there you go. It works exactly same the way how you see while you are debugging that. OK, this is how I can export and import the monitor log so that if I want to share it to my team member where I need help from them to cross my technical challenges. Last but not least, these three options. This option is to just filter out the source filters and the row identity, normal case or a compact case. When I say compact, it will just compact into the required way. Now, and the next one is to filter out of this also. I wanted to see only the success scenarios. There you go. It automatically filters out. Last but not least, the invite. What is this invite? How does this helps? Invite is to add another user as part of this session. When I click on invite, it will add any of your team member to monitor this. If I don't want to export and import this result set, but I want my team lead or my fellow developer to look at this log, how I can do that is I can just say invite and just punch in their details, say like David, and copy this link and share it to them. Once they log on to that, they can also see. Now I'm copying this, and when I just come here, I'm opening in a private window. Now, if I just log in as David, I believe, OK, let me get the David session details, please. Sorry for the delay, guys. Just getting the David session, David username and password. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Yeah, Krishna, I don't know if you want to ask in this moment questions or at the end, but there is a question from John.
Go ahead.
The question is, could we apply DevOps like using GitHub to manage all the changes on the app?
Say that one more time, please.
Sorry. Could we apply DevOps like using GitHub to manage all the changes on the app?
No, unfortunately, it is not associated with GitHub as of now, but maybe very soon they will update that.
Oh, cool. I hope that can answer John's question. So yeah, you can continue.
OK, I just punch in. Oh boy. Sorry, guys. I did not anticipate this. Recently this password got expired. Sorry about that. Any other questions for me?
No yet, but no worries. We are trying to do this in live, so this kind of things happens. I am sure attendees understand that part.
Oh boy, it is not letting me in. So I'm sorry about that. It is not letting me in. But ideally, when you log in with that user, they can just navigate that. When you click on this, it clearly shows that this session is only 60 minutes available. So the 60 minutes, once the 60 minutes is passed, this session, they cannot see that. So that is how we can coordinate with my fellow makers, and I can just share the URL and they can monitor our issues or what is the output of this app. OK, now I can see that there is something called debug and the username is this. How I get this is, if you notice, there is a formula called trace, function called trace. So under wherever you wanted to see the additional information, how you could do that is add a trace and followed by your custom message. OK, under this, using this custom message, I can add any number of trace. Now I can add one more as here stating that I recommend to add 3 stars or something because I want to differentiate whether it is my custom message or a standard message which is coming out of Microsoft logging mechanism. OK, now error. User not associated properly. Now this is that. Now again here also I'll add one more success. User associated properly. Now, if I run the app and hit get manager, and if I go to monitor, I will see this one as error user not associated properly because I have added one more trace. So this is how I can understand whether my code is executed at up to what level. If that if condition is going or else case is going, I can understand by adding the statements like this. Now, if I just say get manager, now this is a success scenario. I know that this is a success scenario. It went into the else case. So it clearly, when I click on this, it also shows that, OK, it is part of else block. The other time it is part of the if block. This is how I can add and monitor my app. OK, so this is fine. I'm doing it while I'm implementing the app. What if I wanted to understand how my app is performing once it is deployed onto production or once it is in a QA? How I could do that is go to app.make.powerapps.com, the Macros portal landing page. Select the app which you wanted to debug. Say that debugging and monitoring. This is the app I wanted to debug. When you select that, you see that there is something called monitor. When you click monitor on this level, it will hold the monitor session of that app. However, it will let you play the published app. See that I see two more options. One is connect user and the other one is play published app. Earlier, we don't see those two options. Or what I see invite and options. But here, this time I see connect user and play published app also. When I click on play published app, the first thing we have to notice is you are connected to a monitor debug session. Those in the session will see events generated by the app, including any data. I repeat, it includes any data because it is monitored by somebody, and also it shows a red record icon here, which clearly helps us that, hey, we are not running the app in a regular mode. We are running the app in a monitor mode. So whoever is monitoring the session can see the data, whatever it comes as part of our data operations. Example, if I write a filter statement on particular table, whatever the data I'm getting out of it, the user who is monitoring the monitor log can see that. So we have to be vigilant on this red dot. Now, if I come here, there you go. It already started logging here. So when I go and say David, there is no manager. When I come here, it clearly shows. This time I am able to monitor the product, the app which is already part of in production. But the catch here is if you have not added enough trace logs as part of your development, you will not be able to see those trace logs. So this is something we have to plan before we push the app into production. Once the app is in production or in QA, you will not be able to add this trace on fly. OK, so if you have added the trace logs, you will be able to see as part of your production. What is this connect user, Krishna? Now, I got a complaint from my end user David stating that, hey Krishna, you are telling me that the gallery has to show the data related to me, but I don't see any data. We don't know what is the issue David had. David might have had the access issue on one or two tables which I am using as part of my gallery. How do I do that is, first thing is come on to this published monitor session, say connect user. This time again for David. Now this time this is a different session than the previous session. When I say invite is to monitor this monitor log, but this time I'm inviting David to run this app with this monitor mode. If I share this app, user can log on to that app or open the app in a monitor phase. So again, he or she will also be able to see the prompt, whatever I got. In fact, it will give you one more level prompt stating that, hey, you are running an app in a monitor mode. Are you really sure you want to open the app? Before it launches the app, it will show that. Once they click on OK, it will open the app and it will do all the monitoring over here. So that is how I can coordinate with the end user who are experiencing the challenges once the app is deployed as part of the production or QA. This is how I can monitor the app which is part of the production or QA. Now let's come back to the presentation. See, data connectors, we already noticed that whether it is connecting with Office 365 or a local collection, and the screen load metrics. How do I know the screen load metrics is when you notice here each and every duration is nothing but on what operation it is working, on what level it is taking long time. OK, and the next one is user action such as navigate. We have already noticed that what is the user action, whether it is a select user. It is a user action, whether it is a select or a trace or selecting the user, or it is running against a data source. We have already noticed that. And the next one is custom trace. We have added a custom trace to understand how the trace function works and how we can add additional trace logs. Next one is delegate versus non-delegate queries. That will only happen when you add the queries. So how does that works is when I go onto the next screen, come here. As I was telling, how I will know whether it is a performant or non-performant. Now, if I go back to my app, see that how many times it is traversing to Office 365. My intention is to get the image of each and every user, right? How many users it has, it will perform that many network operations. Hope you are able to follow me. Here I have this many number of records, so that many number of times, there you go. When I scroll down, it added some more additional network statements, network logs. So this one, what it is doing is it is performing 130 milliseconds or max of 556 milliseconds to get a user profile picture. This is for the user photo and this is to search the user, which means that at the time of searching, it is performing one network operation. To get the photo, it is performing another network operation. Is it really needed? So what Microsoft advises, never ever try to show user profile picture as part of gallery because it is a very expensive call. When there is a data exceeded more than 1,000 records, it may end up crashing the app when you are running the app on part of your mobile. But absolutely it works smooth when you run the app on the browser. But when you run the same app as part of mobile, it will get crash. OK, and that is how we can understand whether the app is performant or not and whether the delegation operation is working properly or not. That is how we can understand the health status of your Canvas app. So what about model driven app? The way how we have monitored the Canvas app, similarly, we can see the model driven apps also. If you notice here, this is a model driven app. Come here, select the model driven app, again the same functionality, click on monitor. Once you click on monitor, no change. Same way I can click on play model driven app. Last time we clicked on play published Canvas app, but this time I clicked on play model driven app, which is a published model driven app. So it will open that app and it will log each and every event like the way how it had logged as part of your Canvas app also. So what is next is, so the feature enhancements for this is Microsoft is planning to add variable and to monitor the variable levels also. What does that mean is in today if you want to debug the app, what you could do, and if you want to understand how the app is, see this is how it will show. See this join monitor debug session. When I click on join, that is when it will open. Good that it is working for model driven, but for Canvas it is by default it is started showing. If you notice here, there is many number of calls it performed for model driven apps. If you see, it is an XML fetch, it is a regular XML HTTP request, it is a fetch, and these are all various network operations it performed. There is no user action as of now. Even it performed a KPI also, because when you come here, it had to load all the default controls. Now, if I click on new, now it will start logging the user action because I have clicked on new. So it had to log the user action. Now, if I say there you go. Now, if I say the account as sample account, and if I click on save and close, it will create a new account there. There it is. Now, if I come here, again, it will store each and every operation. Now, if I say user, these are all the user actions. That is how I can monitor even the model driven app also. As I was telling you, if I want to understand what are all the various variables as part of my app, go to view, click on variables. I can see all the variables which are there, but here I would not be able to see how many collections are where and all my collections are. I can see what are all the collections as part of my app, but there is no way I can see where on all my collections are using as of today. But in case of variables, if you go to a particular screen or a global variables, we know in PowerApp there are two type of variables, global and local variables. Local variables are permitted at the screen level, which get creates when you write a function or a function or a formula with update context. Whenever you write a update context, it will create a local variable. Whenever you write set or clear collect, it will create global variable. All the global variables you can see here, and when you click on that, it will show you what part of the app this particular variable is using. But there is no way I can see where and all my collections are getting utilized at the app level. But down the line, Microsoft is planning to add that as part of the monitor, like the way how variables are working. Monitor, it should be able to see the collections also. Now, today, I don't see the variable value as part of the collection. It is just stating that it is fetching the record, but I cannot add my variable, or I cannot see which variable this value is holding. That is something they are planning to implement. And the second one is adding a watch feature. Those who are a traditional or .NET developers, there is something called watch I can add at the time of Visual Studio IDE. Like the way we will end up looking at a watch feature in PowerApps Maker Studio also. So these are the two features Microsoft is planning very soon. So if you feel those two are important, you are already Microsoft had already understood your pain, and they are doing the implementation to help you guys to cross your hurdles. Any questions?
No questions, Krishna. Just thanks words for you. So John says thank you. Really good session. So yeah, I don't know if that's all for your session.
Last 1 minute is that this is my YouTube channel where I have explained much detail with taking time into consideration. I was not able to cover more on that. When you go to my session, my YouTube channel, wherein I have clearly explained how to do the debugging and monitoring.
Perfect. So that's good. That's good. So for all of the attendees, go to Krishna YouTube channel. We will be posting your social media on the event. So to let all of the attendees to go and follow you.
Thank you. This is my contact information. Thank you for your time. This is my contact information. If you want to connect with me, this is my Twitter handler and this is my YouTube channel. Using this image, you can scan the image and you can connect onto any of the media you wanted to connect. If you want to connect on Twitter, scan this and you will be able to see. And if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can subscribe. I always look at the community and I'll understand what are all the frequent issues, and I'll take the frequent issues and I will write the solution for the frequent issue and I'll record that for all our use.
Excellent. Thanks so much for that, Krishna, and really thank you for this awesome session. So now you know, go out and follow Krishna. It's going to be sharing more content, awesome as this session. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you to being here, Krishna. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your time. So with your permission, I don't see the attendees count. Would you mind to say how many are there?
In this moment, we have just 3. So I'm going to end the session. We can discuss everything, your questions. And for all the attendees, please go and in our website, we have the next session, which is about Office 365. So you can go to the website and hit on the next session you want to jump on. So thanks so much. I'll see you in the next session.